Hi, this is Rooney Camara, and in this episode, we will be talking about the coronavirus and China. Why is China so important for the global economy? If you have been hit by the coronavirus, or your stocks have been hit, or you are wondering why China is so important, then stay with me because this episode will be very, very important. Okay, this is Rooney Camara, and I have been a little while um, away because this episode, these lives, will be done every Friday on at 4 o'clock, and I've taken a pause, but I'm back. I'm back in February with the next episode, episode 31, 32. And if you don't know me, I have been doing this episode during the last 32 weeks. And this episode is for people who want to turn data into analysis and create the right policy. If you are a country economist or if you are an investor investing in the Eastern Caribbean, in the Dutch Caribbean, I have created economic models for all those islands, 8 islands in the Eastern Caribbean, and Curacao and Saint Martin. And my role is to gather data, to put that into an analytical framework, and then help governments, investors, policy advisors, help them understand their country, understand global developments, etc. So this episode, we're going to talk about the coronavirus. And I wanted to talk about the coronavirus because the coronavirus right now in February, it is affecting the world, and we're seeing a lot of things happening. And you might be interested in the coronavirus because whether you are doing some forecast for your island or for your country, maybe for the Caribbean, whether you are doing some policy analysis, whether you are gathering data, or even if you are an investor on the stock exchange, you are investing, you might be interested what is happening in China. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to tell you how you can join my community of policy advisors and investors that want to turn data into analysis and create the right investment policy or the right policy for their country. So why is it so important? Let me show you my screen, and I'm going to my screen, and you are seeing here, probably you are seeing this chart. Okay, this chart is basically the S&P 500. Those are the 500 companies that are in an index. And you see what's happening here. You see this is the last 5 days. You see, yes, the last 5 days. And this is the last month. You see what is happening there in the last month. It's dropping. And during the last 5 days, you see how things, what happened. There is a significant drop here in the stocks of the S&P 500. And you could go to all the portfolios. You could go to your personal portfolio. You will see this drop. Okay? During that one day, let me see what's happening. Today, nothing happened. But during the last 5 days, you see a huge drop in there. So what does it mean? It does mean that the stocks on the S&P 500 got hit. There is a significant decrease, and you see that the S&P 500 has been increasing during the last 5 years, even during the last 1 year. But look at this. Look at what happened here. Boom. Going down. So a lot of people are losing their money. A lot of people are losing their money in stocks. And this is basically a small hit because people are a lot of people are talking about the shift, about the reset, and the reset is is something which is going to happen during the next maybe 2 to 3 years, and it's going to be more than this hit. So why is this so important? Let me go back to my show you my face. Why is this so important? Why is this so important? You see that basically something happens in China, a coronavirus, and it is already affecting the world. It's affecting the world. Everybody is becoming really, really sensitive. They are becoming, some people are panicking, and they are dumping their stocks. You understand? They are dumping their stocks. And let me tell you something about the world. Maybe you know that the world is already, the estimates of the global, the growth of the world have been decreased by the IMF. So the world is not, let me put some things, the world is not in high economic growth, but the estimates of the economic growth have already been decreased by the IMF. Europe is slowing down. And now Asia, because a lot of economies are dependent from the Chinese economy, and probably during the first quarter we will see a decrease in the estimates of the world, the growth of the world. So why is this so important to understand the Chinese economy? First of all, you have seen that the world reacts on something happening in China. Number two, China is the biggest economy in the world. There are some people who still don't believe that. They think that the United States is the biggest economy in the world, but China is actually the biggest economy in the world. So the third thing, among the top 15 banks, the fourth biggest banks are the Chinese banks. So you see the money, the biggest banks are not the biggest banks, are not the USA banks anymore, but the Chinese banks are the biggest banks. So you see how the world, if you just join in, how the world is dependent on the Chinese economy. So you as a policy advisor, you as an investor, you might want to have a framework where you can analyze the Chinese economy. I have created such frameworks for the Eastern Caribbean islands, all the 8 Eastern Caribbean islands, and Curacao and St. Martin, but you might want to have a framework, analytical framework, where you have all the data from the Chinese economy, where you have the interrelationships between the Chinese economy and the rest of the world. Because if you don't follow that, you might be lagging behind. You don't understand what is going to happen. So if you are only focusing on the USA economy, or on the European economy, or maybe the economy of the United Kingdom, then that is going to, it's not going to help you. You have to focus on the Chinese economy, on the Asian economies. So I'm going to create something very special, but if you stay till the end, I'm going to reveal what I'm going to create and this unique opportunity to participate in this. So why, let me just go a little bit deeper. Why does this coronavirus impact the stock market? Like we have seen, the stock market, S&P 500 went down. And why is it important for you? Okay, so you might be thinking, okay, this is not important for me because I don't have any stocks. I'm not investing. I'm not a policy advisor, etc. But your pensions, where are your pensions invested? The pension fund you are participating in. You have a salary. You are paying that pension fund. Where is that pension fund invested? You see, probably they are invested in Asia. They are invested in somewhere in the world. But if the world economy decreases because of a coronavirus, because something happening in China, then it might affect you. So wherever you are in the world, if you think this coronavirus will not affect you, it will affect you. let me tell you about how you analyze the Chinese economy, some things, how you analyze the Chinese economies with an economic framework. Now, first of all, you want to look at um, why is it that the coronavirus has so much impact. First of all, right now there are value chains and everything is connected. What does a value chain mean? China is the factory of the world. So if there you have supermarkets, if you have people like iPhone producing iPhones, if you have people producing cars in Germany, if you have people importing products to do agriculture in China, they import their goods, their products from China. And because it is just in time means that they don't have stocks anymore in United States or in Europe. They just deliver just in time. So what does that happen? If there is a coronavirus and the factories in China don't work, then people are not receiving their stocks. So it is affecting the agriculture in United States. It's affecting the agriculture, the produce of maybe parts and cars in Germany. It's affecting all other value chains. You see, so we are dependent in the West. We are dependent on what is happening in China. That's the first thing. The second part, there are people doing business with China. But if there is a coronavirus, then people cannot travel anymore to China. That means that the airplanes, the air companies are going to, the airlines are going to get less revenue because everything is stopped, no business anymore, and that's going to affect their stocks. The second thing, maybe there are events in Asia, there are events in China. A friend of mine just had an event in South Korea where he wanted to invest in blockchains, etc. He was in South Korea. Now imagine you're having such events in South Korea and now there is a coronavirus, etc. Then you will postpone that event. There is something happening in Japan. I think the Olympics is being held in Japan, but there are already indications that maybe that event is not going through, etc. You see, so the tourism sector gets hit. So the the airlines get hit. Everything is connected. So you understand now why it is important to have a framework, because in that framework, that economic framework, you will see everything, how everything is related. You cannot just have a spreadsheet and then say, okay, what is the exports and imports of China? But you need to know the exports and imports, where are they going? How much does the European Union export to China? How much do they import from China? How much is that from the United States to China and from China to the United States? You see, the Asian economies, how much do they import from China and how much do they export to China? So all those things are important. But it's not only the exports and the imports. China has been investing in the world, in a lot of South African and African countries, and all over the world, in Asia, in Brazil, in Latin America, in the Caribbean. China has been investing in those countries, and that means that China is the biggest creditor in the world. So if something happens with the Chinese economy, it's going to affect those other countries because there's going to be less foreign direct investments in those countries. Okay, so that's why I just explains a little bit how the coronavirus affects the world and why China is important. Now, I'm going to show you the last thing, which is actually that if you want to become part of my community, then go to m.me/policy in paradise and click there. Just type that into your browser, and then Anna, my assistant, my chatbot assistant, will take you into my community. If you're looking at this on YouTube, on the LinkedIn, then just type m.me/policy in paradise, and then you will be asked a couple of questions. Just answer those questions. It will take only maybe 3 to 5 minutes to answer those questions. I think it takes 3 minutes. Answer those questions, and then you will be onboarded. Those questions are important because I only want people in my community who are serious. So that's why I ask you those questions. And those questions are private. I'm asking you about your dream, about your goals, about what are you employed, do you have a business, etc., so that I can better serve you. Now, if you are become part of my community, then I have a unique experience I'm working on, which is to analyze the Chinese economy. I'm not going to disclose everything, but it's going to be a one-time event, one-time experience only for selected people in my community to to show them and teach them about analyzing the Chinese economy. So if there is something happening, corona or what investments, etc., then you will understand the Chinese economy. So the world is moving towards a shift towards the Asian economies. The Asian economies are actually going to rule the world. They are growing. China is the biggest economy in the world. You see how important China is. The blockchain, which I've talked about, is more active in China. People are more active. There are more companies in China, in South Korea, etc., doing blockchain. So a lot of developments will originate from China. So that's why you want to analyze Chinese economy. You want to have the figures of the Chinese economy there. You want to have all the data of the Chinese economy. You want to simulate the Chinese economy because it depends on what is happening in China, what will happen in the world. You know, if China, I want to close with this, if China decides to stop buying stocks or securities, bonds, etc., in the United States, I'm going to be bold on this, the United States will really suffer. You understand? China has been exporting to the United States, and the United States has been importing from China. You see, there is a trade war between China and the United States right now. And all those things, you want to analyze them. You want to know what has happened. Even if you think you are not an investor right now, you are not a business owner, you are not a policy advisor, you might want to share this information with other people. Now, if you are on Facebook, just click on the message box, on this page, Policy in Paradise, and so the page is facebook.com/policy in paradise. And if you click on this page, on the message box, then also my chatbot assistant, Anna, will open and will ask you a couple of questions and onboard you in my community. The doors are closed right now for that experience, but as soon as the doors open, and the doors will only be open during a limited amount of time, we are finishing the whole experience right now, and this experience has been asked by many people, many of my clients. So make sure you are part free. to join my community. Make sure you join my community for free right now, and then you will be the first one to hear about this unique experience I'm working in. So if you have any questions regarding China, ask them below. If you are on LinkedIn, just share this, like this, comment. If you are on YouTube, subscribe on this channel. Uh, Share this information. Ask any questions. If you are on Facebook, just ask any questions you have below regarding Corona, regarding China, because I will be focusing on China during the next days. Now, I want you to know that I'm going to continue with this live episodes, giving you free information every Friday. But now, during this the next month, I might also be popping in during the week more times a week to give you some information about data, about analysis, about policy, about analyzing countries. Okay, so I'm going to focus on this channel. I had 3 channels during the last 31 episodes, but I'm going to focus now exclusively on this channel, providing you information, bringing you live information every Friday, and then more times a week. This is going to be awesome. Make sure you like this page. Make sure you share this episode, because there are more people wanting to know about data, about analysis, about policy. Ask me your questions, and have a nice weekend. See you next time. Bye.